Ahoy! And welcome to Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain, a show about the good in liquid life,
where we talk about bars, bartending, and booze.
She's Hotcakes.
And he's the Captain.
Thanks for coming aboard. Now, let's go overboard. Ahoy! And welcome to Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain. I'm the Captain, Rich Manning, and with me as always is my beautiful, lovely, and talented wife, Heather Hotcakes.
Hi.
Hi.
So,
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank you for
Excellent.
asking. Yeah. We're not married or anything. Just 22 years.
We are absolutely married, just for the record.
We are.
Sucker.
I'm just saying, yeah.
Actually, I'm the sucker.
Oh, I'm not wearing my ring. I'm an idiot. So lost. Yeah. That's another thing. But anyway.
Hi.
Let's pivot. What are you drinking?
What are we drinking today? Hi. Okay, so in honor of our illustrious guest today, as we always do, I made some drinks that they might have made in the past. For you, I made a drink called the It Rhymes with Trick Dog. So this drink is a goldfish cracker infused bourbon, and it goes with a little bit of sweet vermouth, Oloroso sherry, some Amaro Averna, some Demerara syrup, and some saline solution. And then for me, I decided to make a little Tokyo, which was also a cocktail made by our illustrious guest. This is a Westland whiskey cocktail. It's made with Westland whiskey. Woo! That is your...
Wow.
Westland. Your whistle. A little Westland whiskey, a little Saint Germain, and some, instead of this vermouth, we are using umeshi, which is a salted plum sake liqueur. We're going to ask him in just a minute. And why don't you introduce our guest so we can get to drinking?
I think that's a great idea because I'm smelling the goldfish here. Here it is, the happy snack that smiles back.
It might be.
You can bite their heads off.
Introduce him.
Yes, so today's guest is Nick Amano-Dolan, Beverage Director of Vivants, the hospitality group behind the James Beard and Tales of the Cocktail winning bar Trick Dog in San Francisco. So serious street cred. Once an aspiring mixed martial arts fighter, and I can't wait to talk to him about that, Nick figured out the hospitality arena was his domain. After years of honing his craft as a bartender, Nick now kicks ass by overseeing one of the most engaging bars in the country. And it's just an acclaimed place that allows him to really lean into his passion for serving people. And when he's not running the program, he's busy running marathons because, of course, he is.
Of course he is.
So, welcome, Nick, to Manning Overboard.
Yay!
What are you drinking, good sir?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you too. I'm drinking a pear eau de vie and tonic. Nice and easy highball. This is actually going to go on our next menu and get served with a piece of Parmesan cheese as well as a nice little garnish.
Oh, fantastic. So, and where'd you get the eau de vie from?
We got to keep it local. So we did St. George Distillery. They have a pear eau de vie out of Alameda. They are absolutely mad scientists over there, and they make a bunch of crazy stuff. If you go inside the distillery and you do the tour, normally they'll let you taste a few like wild, crazy experiments that never were able to make it to market. But yeah, it's an awesome, awesome distillery, super close, right across the bridge. So we love repping them any chance that we get.
Dave Smith is an OG, and he's so good, and that whole brand, and the secret to their tasting room is the popsicles.
Yeah. All right. You know what's up. Nice. No surprise.
All right.
No surprise. You already know the secret.
Cheers, Nick.
Cheers, Nick.
Hey, cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
We're so happy to have you on the show. So, for those of you who don't,
it's so good.
Isn't it?
Oh man,
that's really good.
I will say for people that haven't had this, watching this from San Francisco, go and order this because the goldfish is present in the cocktail. The flavor of the you have this very faint essence of it, and it really enhances the cocktail. It's really good.
Here's the problem, though. It's not on the current menu.
This is always our problem. This is always our problem at Trick Dog because we're changing everything around. Every 6 months, Josh and I have accepted that we're going to be doing the menu thing at Trick Dog for the rest of our lives. And so, we change them around every 6 months. And typically, they're pretty prep-intensive cocktails, so we can't always make any old ones off of the previous menus. The one cocktail that we say that we can always make. It's from the first original cocktail menu. It's called the Baby Turtle. It's a tequila, Campari, grapefruit, cinnamon cocktail. It's absolutely delicious, certified banger, and that is one we always keep the ingredients on hand to be able to make it. But aside from that, part of the charm, you gotta, it's here for 6 months and then it goes forever. So I'm glad that you took the time to recreate it. It was kind of a funky cocktail. The goldfish was actually inspired. That menu in particular was our 10-year anniversary.
Which one? What menu was it? Was it the dogs menu?
It was the MOTA menu, the Museum of Trick Dog Art. So we had a museum brochure. Right. We hung up all the menus, and it was really kind of a deep dive for our staff to kind of explore all of the old cocktails from previous menus. We had talked about doing like the best drinks off of each menu, and our staff was like, no, that takes away all the fun. Like, we still want to make the drinks. So we made cocktails inspired by the menus from previous. And so, little cocktail inception, maybe a little too heady, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make some tasty drinks. This drink in particular, the What Rhymes with Trick Dog, was inspired by the What Rhymes with Trick Dog menu. And there was a Ritz cracker cocktail on that menu. And so you would not believe how many different things that we tried, salty snacks like that we tried to infuse into spirits. And goldfish became our favorite one. A little bit of salt, a little bit of cheesy component to it. It did really nice in that. It did really nice in that drink.
Yeah, I tried the bourbon on its own after it infused, and like it just has that little bit of cheesy umami saltiness in the back, and then adding all the extra components to it. Like I'm gonna have to make a larger bottle, a batch of it,
Because it's weirdly nostalgic, and it's weird when I tell people that cocktails can evoke nostalgia feelings of like childhood, but this one does because you have that goldfish in there. And sorry for everybody who was all ready to rush out of Trick Dog to have this, but go back to the beginning of the episode. We list the cocktails and the cocktail ingredients, so. And just go to Trick Dog anyway, because whatever you have is going to be damn good.
Well, and I was going to say, if you really want the ingredients, hit me up or hit Nick up. I'm sure that we'll send you the specs, because despite how it sounds, it's really not that difficult to make. I think almost the saline solution is just as difficult as letting the bourbon sit in the goldfish. Yeah,
it's pretty special.
Okay, so Nick, for those of you who don't know him, give us a little background. Where did you earn your bartending bones, as I like to say?
Yeah, so I came up bartending primarily in Sacramento. I had done a little stint when I was in Florida, but I was mainly bar backing. And my first job in Sacramento, I lied on my resume. I had been working there for like 2 years, the restaurant prior in Florida. And I had said that I was bartending for 2 years, and I think that they knew that I was lying, but they thought that they liked my enthusiasm and thought I was sweet enough and brought enough energy. They're like, we'll give this kid a shot anyways. And so my first job bartending was in Sacramento at this bar called Iron Horse Tavern, which was an awesome bar to cut your teeth in because it was high volume. They were trying to make like more elevated drinks. They were using fresh juice and not doing kind of the cocktails of, at the time, it was over 10 years ago, not like what you would typically experience in a lot of spaces, but it definitely wasn't the type of cocktail bar that we're used to seeing now.
Right.
And I was bartending there. As you said, I was fighting on the side. That's why I was in Florida as well. I was training at a camp down there. I'd moved to Sacramento to train at another camp. It was Team Alpha Male, Uriah Faber's gym. And, I was bartending because it was an easy gig to do on the side. And I was able to make my training sessions. I made good money. And so I was like, this is an easy gig. And I was going into the morning into my training sessions. I was getting beat up by like really great guys, great fighters. And I would go to work after, and I just slowly started to realize that I was enjoying work way more than I was enjoying my training. And I also was finding myself to be a lot better at it. I was a lot better at hospitality than I was at fighting. And, somewhere along the way, I was just like, bartending, I realize now that I was realizing in the moment, you can make a career out of this. There's a lot of different options. It's kind of becoming like, a bigger thing than how I had viewed it at the time. It's just like, oh, this is just a part-time gig. And so, I just kind of made the jump and just decided, I'm going to take all the energy that I've been putting in and trying to be a mixed martial arts fighter, and I'm going to try to be the best bartender that I can possibly be. So I worked at a few spots around there. Crew was another notable spot that I was at in Sacramento. It was just a really good Japanese restaurant. It was really nice I'm half Japanese as well. It connected me to like omotenashi and the Japanese perspective on hospitality, using Japanese ingredients, intentionality, kind of viewing cocktail making in the same way that they do with sushi making. And then I worked at another bar called Snug, which was run by Trevor Easter and Lindsay Nader. They had worked kind of all around town. They're building a little mini empire in Sacramento right now with all of their bars. They're just absolutely crushing it.
Butterscotch tin, right?
Just the best. I mean, what else could you ask for? Cook your own steaks and like an ice cold freezer martini for like, I don't know how much it is. I feel like it's like $7 for like just an absolutely fire freezer martini.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, but I mean that's Trevor. So
yeah.
And so I was doing all that, and I was feeling pretty good about my life in Sacramento. I had interviewed for some other jobs. I was thinking about going to New York. I was thinking about, I'd interviewed for some jobs in San Diego, and I'd kind of settled on like I'm gonna stay in Sacramento and try to build my roots and really try to kind of build this town up and continue to kind of help develop the beverage side of things in that city. And then I got a call from Josh. Trick Dog was reopening. They were looking for a GM to kind of like lead the charge on hiring. It was a whole new staff, whole new program. And I took the interview kind of thinking like, I don't know, maybe I can do this, maybe I won't. And as soon as I met Josh, we walked through the bar, went over everything, and I was hooked and set and said, I was like, I need this job. I need this job immediately. I want it super bad. I got offered the job, and 2 weeks later, I was in San Francisco helping to open up what was Shay Shay at the time. And then we opened up Trick Dog again in October 2021 on Halloween Day.
Wow.
And so since then, I've just been kind of running the circuit. Just, for a long time, it was just kind of trying to get my feet under me and getting the program set up. But once we felt the Trick Dog had its base and the home base was good, the core was good, we started doing some traveling, and we've been bopping around a lot and just trying to spread the Trick Dog gospel. And we're now working on an offshoot of Trick Dog, more of a fast casual experience. It's going to be called Quick Dog. We're not very creative with the names, we just it was right there. It was right there for us. And so we're going to be opening that up later this year, right by the ballpark. It's going to be cocktails on draft, super fast, cocktails for the people. Like, we're not going to be putting fish sauce and goldfish and these types of cocktails. It's going to be, espresso martinis, margaritas, strawberry margaritas, that kind of stuff. But really,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, I just kind of fell into this whole thing, and I've just been, kind of chasing what's in front of me and trying to do a really good job at, being a good bartender and training and working with a good team and fostering a good, good education and whatnot. And, things are working out way better than I thought that they would as a bartender. Like I used to, it's going good. I used to explain to my family, I'd be like, oh, I'm managing and I'm working with people. And I would try to like really talk up my job. And now it's just really fun to tell everyone. They're like, what are you doing in Bangkok? And I'm like, I'm just throwing a party.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very, very grateful. It's a fun gig. It's a fun gig for sure.
Excellent. And we'll get to some of your party tricks in a minute, but I do want to just ask, how is has your background as a mixed martial arts mixed martial arts fighter, not fightist? My gosh, I'm not drunk. How has that helped you become a top-notch bar professional?
I think that the principles apply. The attention to detail, the repetition, all of that really applies. I think when my bartending style is the same every time, like I'm very methodical in the way I go about it. And I think about it in kind of the same way that I would like a martial arts form or a kata, and like same sort of structure. I think that from a mental health perspective, like I still train jujitsu every day, and it's hard to get upset when someone was trying to strangle you that morning. You're like, whatever you're dealing with, any like crazy franticness at the bar, pipe burst and you got water spilling out on the floor. It keeps my mental health in check. It keeps me pretty calm and collected in those situations, I think.
Very cool. Very cool.
So in case anybody doesn't know, Trick Dog, as Nick mentioned, they switch over their menus every 6 months. And it's not just here's a paper that's got a whole list of new cocktails. It's an entire changeover of almost everything.
Theme, art, you name it.
So how long does it take you to build a new theme? Is it the moment the new menu sets, you're off thinking about what's coming next?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get asked this a lot. I was curious about it too when I was joining the team. There's fun thing that Josh said to me early on. I was asking him, I said, hey, what does this menu process look like? I was asking the same thing that you just asked me. And he goes, listen, man, from this moment forward, you're going to view life through the perspective of, can this be a menu? And you're just always going to be thinking about it.
Sure.
And it's very true. I think in the past couple of years, Josh and I, now we've been working together for 4 years. We've really started to dial kind of our creative process and how we go about these things. And one of the things we found out was being creative is really fun, but being creative on a timeline is not an enjoyable experience. And so, we sat down and we talked and we said to ourselves, we accepted our fate, which was that we're going to be making these menus for the rest of our lives, or for as long as Trick Dog's around, which we hope for is the rest of our lives.
Yes.
And so now it's always a process. We're always working on the next menu and the menu after that. We always have a list of a hopper list of different ideas and different menu ideas that we're going through. 20 of them are just an idea. 5 of them are kind of fleshed out. And then a couple are we know that this is a good menu and we can figure out a way to sort it in whenever it feels appropriate. But for right now, for example, we're releasing a new menu in July. I'm submitting our cocktails for that menu. So it's releasing July 7th-ish is what we're looking at.
Okay.
It's May 21st today. I'm submitting our cocktails this Friday for that menu. So we're finalizing that and the production of what we're going to do for that menu. But we're already having meetings for our menu release that's going to be happening in January. Because this one is an idea that's going to be a little bit longer. It's a little more thought out and intentional. We're doing some really cool partnerships. And so we've got to give ourselves some time and space to be able to do it. So, in short, we're always working on the next menu, and we're probably working on the menu after that as well, just to try to keep it so that we can stay on time, stay on schedule, and then it keeps the process more fun. But when we're 1 month out from menu release and we don't have everything dialed yet, it's not a fun time. So we try to avoid that as much as possible.
Of
Sure,
course.
absolutely.
Of course.
Now, speaking of theme menus and stuff like that, there are other bars that do theme menus or art forward menus, like Allegory in Washington D.C., Bitter Twisted Cocktail Parlor in Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
You draw inspiration or exchange any ideas with them as you're coming up with the artistic process.
I try not to. I try to not be influenced by the industry as much as possible, which is difficult because there are just so many incredible things happening out there in terms of menu production. Maybe Sammy and Sydney did a beautiful Monopoly game board themed menu. These days doing funky different menus is not as irregular as it was when Trick Dog had first opened.
Sure.
But I honestly try to block it out as much as possible. No disrespect, beautiful menus, beautiful programs, all the respect to those people. But I try to block it out as much as possible because we want our ideas to be coming from, unique, original spaces. And so we try to look towards other art forms and different categories of businesses and things like that to draw our inspiration. And typically when they release something like a Bitter and Twisted or Allegory, you're just they do something cool on their menu and you're like, damn it, we should have thought of that. Should have thought of that earlier. I'll tell you what, the Allegory menu, what they've put out over there. Oh my God. Deke was showing me some of the stuff. It's just the storytelling, the deeper levels behind it are just beautiful. It's really incredible project. So those types of things inspire me tremendously to keep working hard and to keep trying to make sure that we're putting out creative, cool, interesting takes on menus. But I try my best to not be inspired by those things.
Sure.
Fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Inspired creatively by what they actually are. You guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. So you're in San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the OG cocktail renaissance cities.
Maybe the OG cocktail renaissance city. Maybe.
Okay.
Arguably.
Well,
the OG.
I will say that Tony Abou-Gammon, who was in San Francisco back in 1996, created the cable car, which is in Robert Simonson's book, Modern Classic Cocktails.
Ooh, this is true.
I mean, so we can trace it back to 96. You can trace it back to Tony.
Okay, but actually, that takes me back to, I was going to mention, as you were telling your story about lying on your resume and just kind of being charming and whatnot, you realize you're in very good company. Do you know who lied to get his first bartending gig?
Who? Tell me.
One Mr. Dale DeGroff.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
He lied. His first bartending gig was at the Beverly Hills Hotel out here.
No, not Beverly Hills Hotel. It was the Bel Air Hotel.
Oh, the Bel Air Hotel.
Yeah.
Rich knows the story a little bit better, but essentially he lied and was like, yeah, I know how to make a bunch of cocktails but he was charming and lovely and funny.
He's Dale. I mean, come on. He's still all those things.
So you're in very good company, Nick. I just wanted to let you know.
Man, I got the job, and the first day of training, they handed me a jigger, and I was like, what is this? I was used to free pouring stuff. That was the only thing that I saw. So I didn't even know what that was. And they were like, use it to measure. I was shaking so much when they were watching me make my cocktails. I don't even know how I got like booze into the jigger. Like my hands were just, yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so San Francisco is the OG. I will say, I'll follow along with you. Is the OG cocktail city. Craft cocktail has taken over, obviously, the world. Does San Francisco still get the influence that it deserves? Do you think it gets the comeuppance that it deserves?
Man, this is a tough. I think that there's two other bars that have gotten like really like a lot of attention, a lot of press, and a lot of notoriety as of recent. I mean, for a bit, but recently for sure. PCH and True Laurel are just like absolutely pushing the boundaries. Their programs are incredible. The people on their teams are incredible. And, I think that there's a lot of great modern cocktail bars like ABB. Bar Cren is doing some really cool stuff. Bar Iris is doing some great stuff. Cavagna is a fantastic cocktail bar. There's a lot of modern cocktail bars that are really, really incredible. But I also think that a lot of the charm in terms of San Francisco is not the modern thing, not the modern style or take on cocktail bars. Like for me, my favorite restaurants and bars in San Francisco all seem to just be like a long countertop and like very similar, very, very simple, straightforward builds. I think that there's a lot to love about San Francisco. I think that in terms of the attention for the cocktail scene, like, yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people view San Francisco as like, still a premier city and a major market in the US for cocktails. Mm-hmm. I think the thing as a whole, like, a year ago when we were traveling, the number one question I would get asked when we were saying that we were from San Francisco is people would just be like, oh, like, are you okay? Is everything okay there? And there was a bit of a doom loop and, doom and gloom spiral that San Francisco was caught in saying, the pandemic wiped it out. It was doing terrible, which like as a person living here, like I just wasn't experiencing. I think that this city is gorgeous. The problems that we experience as a major metropolitan are similar to what I feel is common at all the other major metropolitans. So, in terms of do we get our recognition? Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously living here and being immersed in the city, I'm constantly going to spaces and seeing things, and I'm super proud of San Francisco. And so there's a part of me that wants to say like, no, we should be viewed better. But no, I think that San Francisco as a whole gets a ton of respect. And I'm happy that the city as a whole and the perception of the city as a whole is really seeming to improve in terms of our experience. When we go around and travel, when people come here, they're getting to really see like, wow, this city it's incredible.
Yeah.
So
And I
Yeah.
will say the one thing that's great about the San Francisco cocktail scene is that the spectrum of cocktail experiences that you can have are very broad and very excellent. Like Trick Dog, True Laurel, absolutely great. You can go a mile away and go to Elixir, and you can either open your night there or close the night there, and it would feel exactly appropriate. And that's really cool. A lot of some cities don't necessarily have that. So what San Francisco has is pretty special, and it's been special, and I think because of people like yourself, Nick, it's going to remain special.
That's sweet of you to say. There's a lot. It takes an army. There's a lot of good people out here working hard to try to bring the San Francisco name up. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there a theme that you have done that really was a favorite? I realize they're all your babies. But was there a favorite theme that you did?
There's pieces of each one of them that really like kind of stand out to me. Like the In Good Spirits menu that we did, it was a book of poetry. It was 16 pieces of work from like some real heavyweights in the poetry industry, like modern and from past. There were some deceased poets that we included in the works as well. But my favorite part about that menu was on a Tuesday afternoon, you'd walk into the bar when we're open and you would see a full bar of people all with their poetry books open, and it was quiet. I mean, there was, music playing and stuff like that, but there was no phones out. Everyone just had their menus open. And I remember like grabbing Josh at one point and just being like, this is so cool. Everyone's like reading poetry in the bar. Like
That's amazing.
So serene and magical. And it just like you could feel this like calm energy in the air from it all. And so I loved that aspect of the menu. It was also the first menu where it really felt like we were back. Like it felt like a Trick Dog menu. It felt like everything as a whole. So that menu holds a special place in my heart for sure. And then the Salty Dog menu was a pretty epic one just because it involved the most change that we had ever gone through, where it was like, I mean, normally we're changing a little bit of every component, but this one, it was like a full change. Like we had completely new glassware, we had new techniques, and we had, Hamilton Beaches behind the bar so that we could do,
Wow. Okay.
proper tiki drinks. We did, we had to get a new Pebble ice machine. We were learning all of these classics. Like we wore the outfits, we played the music. And so that one was probably my favorite just because it was a very fulfilling experience. Like when you walked in, I mean, it was really funny. Like when you walked in, it felt like if you didn't know Trick Dog before, you were like, all right, cool. Like this is a really nice, like tropical nautical bar.
Right.
And I think we did a pretty good job. It always made me nervous when the Smuggler's Cove crew would like run through. I'd always, I would just be like, don't judge us too hard because they've just been doing it for so long, or they're so dialed with all of their drinks. But I just kept saying it's modern tiki. It's modern. But yeah, that was one of my favorite menus too. But I think like as you said, Heather, like for me, it's always the next one.
Yeah.
The next one is going to be the best one ever.
Sure.
And I really feel that way. Because we're all growing and we're all developing and we all learn things. Yeah. And every time we put out a menu, immediately after, there's always these feelings of like, oh man, we could have done this different, or I wish we did that. And so we're learning. Yeah. So we're learning lessons every single time, and we make new mistakes every single time. We make some of the old ones, though we're pretty good at learning from the falters. And yeah, but the next menu at Trick Dog, that's my favorite one.
That's your favorite one?
Sounds good. All right.
Real quick, does the theme change the vibe of the guests? Like you said, the poetry kind of brought the vibe and the little inward perspective, a little more thoughtful. The Salty Dog made everybody kind of a little more salty and woo. Is there? Yeah. Do you see the waves of change due to the themes of the menu sometimes?
Yeah, I haven't actually thought about it that much, but I mean, in the examples there, for sure that I gave, like for sure it was a different vibe and a different type of like feeling in the space. I think the thing that's like really great about Trick Dog in terms of like the trajectory of a night, like It is. I love being at Trick Dog when we open because the way the light hits the windows, and it
It's
just
so
feels
pretty.
good in there.
Gorgeous.
And it's just one of those types of bars. Like you could be the only person in the bar, and like it still feels nice. You're not like, oh, this is weird. I'm the only one. You're like, ooh, I get it all to myself. And then as the night goes on, it's like regulars. We're seeing all the neighbors and their dogs. And as the night goes on, I mean, it is party time, like full throttle by 8 p.m. most nights. And so I think that the menu has an effect on the earlier crowd and the ways that they're interacting with it because they get to interact with the menu a little bit more and experience it. Honestly, like on a Friday and Saturday night, we're typically kind of at the point where it's just like
Good time.
the menu matters a little bit, but it's just like they're at that point we're just got to make sure that they can read the menu clearly enough so they're not just asking for like something with rye or like I'll take a Negroni. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fair. Now, obviously, your theme menus are fun, and they add a little whimsy to the vibe, or change the vibe as we just talked about. Are they also designed to suck the pretentiousness out of craft cocktails?
For sure. I think the whole thing, the inception, which was before me with Trick Dog, the whole idea was at the time, if you were going to a cocktail bar, there was probably going to be people wearing suspenders or a bow tie,
Yep.
and it was probably going to be mostly dudes, and they were going to have tattoos, and they were, maybe going to shush you, and like it was just the vibe of cocktail bars. It was very serious. It was like, the whole experience was like it was meant to be the kind of this like precious sort of thing that was like almost like a fine dining experience. And Trick Dog, when it opened, was really, it was a huge effort to be the opposite of that. People were wearing T-shirts over and aprons. It was a very colorful bar. It was a loud, rambunctious bar that had energy and personality. And so the whole Trick Dog as a whole, I think, has constantly kind of been trying to, keep cocktails fun and making sure that, cocktails are accessible for anyone that wants to come in and experience them. And so the menus for sure. I mean, there's one of our non-alcs right now. It's a clarified like horchata style cocktail, and there's a clown nose on it. So when you're drinking it, it looks like you have a clown nose on. So yeah, like I mean, we cannot take ourselves too seriously. Like it's so funny. When we did the dogs, the playbill menu, Tone, one of our bartenders, had his face painted like a dog and was like mean mugging the camera. And it was like, there's no way you can try to be too cool or serious behind a bar when there's a picture of your face painted like a dog on the menu. Like, it's just setting the tone for sure. So yeah, I think that the menus are kind of go in theme with everything, which is like just make cocktails fun. Cocktails are supposed to be a good time. Drinking is,
Absolutely.
Trevor would say this all the time. So it turns out drinking is supposed to be fun. And we try to uphold that all the time. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Now,
speaking of fun, we are headed into the cocktail convention season, which is always a good time. Yeah. And you all are known for throwing one heck of a party at the end of Tales. One heck of a party. And we were told, a little birdie told us, that you all have a big old storage unit that you keep it down in New Orleans for Pig and Punch.
Yeah.
What was the reason for just deciding, okay, we're just going to get a storage unit. It's just easier for us to store everything there. Why?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that storage unit is pristine. I mean, when we put everything in there, that Pig and Punch gets gnarly. It's it's a backyard barbecue sort of vibe and whatnot. But when anything that goes into that storage unit is like absolutely like just perfectly clean, which I'm very proud of. So I know that wasn't the question, but I just wanted to say that.
No, I love that. I love that you're like, this is my baby. She is clean.
Yeah,
she is done.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. The storage unit came particularly because when the Bon Vivants were working as an agency as well, there was a ton of events. I mean, Pig and Punch is a huge lift in and of itself. But I mean, over 5 years ago, like the Bon Vivants were throwing tons of events at Tales and orchestrating and doing kind of behind the scenes, like cap sort of stuff for like a lot of different events.
Okay.
And it just became, I think things were getting shipped back and forth so much. And when you start to look at the cost of shipping, it was like, man, we could just like literally have a storage unit down here and it would be cheaper than the amount of things that we're just shipping back and forth over and over and over again.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, we've got like 40 blenders, 100 chinois, giant batching trash cans. Like it's a prep person's dream storage unit. It does make me actually really happy. Like it feels like it's always like kind of the christening of like Pig and Punch is about to begin when we open that storage unit for the first time. And then that the whole week is done, Tails is done. It's a very symbolic like closing of the storage unit.
Lock her up.
Nice.
Like once we close that unit and lock it up, we're just like, we did it. We're done.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Now, I mean, obviously, since you have the storage unit and Tails, and that you have all that material, all that stuff that you use, but does that limit your event activation ideas, or just because you have all of that there, or does that even matter because you're just throwing a hell of a party?
No, I think it gives us more options, to be honest, because I mean, down there now, like, Pig and Punch started with cocktails served in trash cans. And we try to still kind of like give a nod to the OG version of Pig and Punch. And so now we have carbonation draft systems set up that are inside trash cans chilling and still doing it that way. No, but like now, like down there, I mean, we have a ton of corny kegs, draft systems. It gives us a lot of options. Like, to be honest, I feel that we're in such a great spot and we have a lot of flexibility because we're going down there, but we still kind of have like a home base because of that storage unit. We have like any possible tool that you could need, and
that's great.
Definitely a lot that you don't need. But it's really fun. The day before Pig and Punch, we've been doing it outside, and this last year was the first time we were like, wait, we can just do this inside. And so we set up our living room. We get the same house every time in Tails. It's an amazing spot. You guys definitely got to come and pop by the house when you're down there. Good porch hangouts. Playing some cards. It's a great hang. But on Thursday,
we love a good hang.
We set up the living room. Oh yeah, we set up the living room like a war room, and we like invite all the bars. So we had like Baby Sammy, Schmuck, Panda and Sons, Yacht Club, and they're all coming through and doing like little prep projects, and it was just such a fun vibe. And I mean, we have everything that you could need there for prep. So I think that it gives us a lot more flexibility and then a lot more ability to say yes to whatever brands are asking for.
Sure.
That's really great. Now, speaking of Tails, we mentioned that you have won Tails Awards and you won a James Beard Award. Trick Dog has.
We were finalists. Trick Dog has still not won the James Beard Award. We've been finalists.
I stand corrected.
4 times.
I think you won.
It's kind of better PR. Someone, I can't remember who was saying this, but someone was saying, they were like, yeah, once you win a James Beard though, you won it. No one talks about you in the years moving on. If you're in the finalists. Yeah.
It's like Souther Teague, who perpetually complained and then didn't complain about never winning the Tails Award for the podcast. He's like, I just want to be perpetually nominated.
I want to be the Susan Lucci of bar podcasts.
Yeah.
So
great PR.
Yeah,
great
exactly.
PR.
So anyway, but obviously with the final, that still holds some clout. So how do you leverage that to help increase your business or help it thrive?
To be honest, we don't think about that stuff as much, or at least in that sort of way. Like, honestly, whenever we get an award or an acknowledgement, the number one thing that we try to do is take a moment to reflect with the team and be grateful and to celebrate with the team. And I think that those are the biggest benefits of awards. We recognize that by having, different accolades or recognitions or being on certain lists, people are more likely to want you to come out to their events. They want you to come speak at different engagements and things like that. But to me, I think the most important piece of it is that whenever we get acknowledged for something like that, we come together with the team and we celebrate as a team and we get to acknowledge like, hey, this hard work, all of these moments, all of this work that can feel monotonous at times, that can feel, really deflating at certain times and whatnot, it was all for this. Like, look at this acknowledgement. Yeah. And it's a nice time for all of us to kind of like pat each other on the back and say like, hey, we can take a breath real quick and just acknowledge that like the work that we're doing is is being well received.
Well, I have to say, and I have to acknowledge, you and your team have done a fantastic job. It was a long time coming. We had known you and your team for a good couple of years at this point. We finally making it up to the restaurant, up to the bar, and sitting at the bar having just the best time. The menu was fantastic. The bar was great. The team was phenomenal.
And the way it's set up, it's totally conducive to building conversation around you. We had a delightful conversation with the people next to us, just sitting at the bar. And it was just everything about that was everything that you want at a bar.
So thank you for building that community and that energy, because it's exactly like Rich said, it's exactly what you want when you're going to a bar.
Oh, thanks so much. That means a lot coming from the two of you, because I know that you guys are well researched in your bar experience.
It's a very lovely way to call it degenerates, Nick. Thank you.
I know. I love our team so much. I'm so grateful. There's a lot of members of the team now that we've worked together for the 4 years since we've reopened Trick Dog, and I really love our team. I think they're great. Their hospitality, their energy, creativity. It's a really special group of people. And so I'm glad that they took care of you in that sort of way. I'm not surprised, because that's what they do. But yeah, I love the group of people that we get to work with, for sure.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So before we let you go, we always like to close our interviews with a little bit of a last call, as we like to say. We want to get to know, if we were in San Francisco and we were sitting at the bar and you were our bartender and we wanted to explore your city, as tourists do, we would ask the bartender certain questions. So here are our last call questions. If I was new to the city after a cocktail at Trick Dog, where should I go next for my next good cocktail?
True Laurel, for sure. It's around the corner. I feel like this is an easy toss-up. It's the best. It's my favorite thing, though, but it's around the corner. And the experience and the style of bar, the style of cocktails, is vastly different from the style that we have at Trick Dog. And so I think the contrast between the two bars is like so perfect. We've done a couple pop-ups together. Where we've done one. We're gearing up for another, but where we had like the party bar vibes at Trick Dog, and then the more kind of refined, nicer service style at True Laurel. And yeah, the contrast between the two is fantastic. True Laurel all the way. Their cocktails, love them.
We were looking forward to going there one day when they're not closed, hosting a staff party.
Oh, you see, you can't be mad at them for that, though. They're loving on their team.
We've lovingly busted Nico's chops since we've seen him. We've seen him a couple times. Yeah. It's like, oh, come on.
All right. Who's got the best burger in town? Because you always need
I've done a ton of burger research. I'm giving you guys long answers. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is supposed to be more rapid fire. I've done a ton of burger research because we're opening up Quick Dog, and we're taking what we feel is kind of the classic burger style of San Francisco, formerly of the Olympic Club, but it's a hamburger served with a hot dog bun. And the owner famously was like, "Okay, I'll make burgers, but I'm not buying another set of buns at his original spot." Right. So he made burgers in the shape of hot dog buns. And so the best burger will be at Quick Dog at the end of this year.
Fair enough.
I think aside from that, aside from that, couple quick shots. Sam's is the best backyard burger that you can have in the city. The char that you get on it, it's incredible. ABV is the best bar burger, like just straight up like burger that you can have at a bar. ABV is absolutely perfect. And then Myers is a pop-up that's doing smash burgers. I think they're fantastic. I get the classic. It's really, really good. I hope they get a brick and mortar soon. But so those are my favorites.
Fantastic. And can confirm about ABV's burger. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Incredible.
Okay, I've got an afternoon to kill. Where am I going? What am I doing?
You've got an afternoon to kill? Oh, man. Okay, I think that you should go to Buena Vista. You should get an Irish coffee. You should have one there. And then you should get one to go. And you should – it's a little trade secret. They give you a to-go coffee with cream and then a little mini of Tullamore Dew on the side. So you can do whatever you please with that as you walk out the building. But I would go to Buena Vista. I would take a nice stroll down Fisherman's Wharf, go to Pier 39, go and hang out and watch the seals. They're so cute, particularly this time of the year. There's tons of them out there. They're amazing. And then go to the old school arcade game that's kind of right up the street from that on Fisherman's Wharf,
Is
too.
that the Musée Marquis? Or yeah, I can't remember.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
Musée Marquis or something.
Yeah, it's an arcade museum, and they have, I mean, like games dating back to like, I don't know, the 20s. I don't know, a long time. They have a lot of vintage style games. So yeah, I think that's a good afternoon. Pop by the only In-N-Out in San Francisco on Fisherman's Wharf for a quick snack after too.
Perfect.
Cool.
Currently, because I know the menu changes, you're in your circus vibe. What is one cocktail I should not miss on the current menu?
Yeah, the Bee Bearder. I love this one right now.
Right.
I'm so glad it's been well received too, because it was kind of a weird one. So when I was in New Orleans, I kept eating at Margie's, and they would do this crazy combo every time of like fish sauce, fish, fresh fruit, and some like herbs. And so I was really trying to kind of recreate that flavor combo sans fish, because I just, I didn't want to do, I just didn't want to go there yet.
Right. Sure.
But so we recreated a kind of a version just playing on those like savory flavor profiles together. And we did a cocktail with monkey shoulder whiskey. It has a mango eau de vie, cilantro, bell pepper, and fish sauce.
Oh.
It's a stirred cocktail on a big cube, and it's just savory and juicy from the mango, and still kind of drinks like a spirit forward, but not too much. It's refreshing, but has a backbone to it. I love that drink. It's super fun.
That sounds tremendous.
Whoa.
Sounds right up your alley.
I know. Yeah. I'm sad I missed it. Okay. One place I should not miss eating in the city. San Francisco is a food city. Where should I go to eat?
This is a tough question. I think like Swan's Oyster Depot is the staple that I bring anyone that comes into San Francisco to. It's old family-owned business, fresh seafood in a non-pretentious spot. Like, again, just like a single diner. It's got a line around the block most days. Super tough to get into, but it's worth the wait. The crab back is incredible. The Italian sashimi is absolutely fantastic. The service that you get there and the hospitality is absolutely next level. I know that they know my name every time I go in there. It's just a great spot. And I think the one other spot I would include too is Yamo. There's a Burmese spot. It's cash only in the Mission. It is just, again, a single just diner, like long counter.
Sure.
It maybe has 10 seats, maybe not even 10 seats. And it's just a daughter, I think it's her aunt, that run the place together there. And it's cracking all the time. Super, super affordable. You can get house noodles with beef, tea leaf salad, and dumplings for under $25.
Whoa.
Incredible. Yeah. So I have Yamo Wednesdays where I like to get Yamo. Really, really tasty.
Yamo be there?
No.
You get it.
You should be wearing this. Breaking out the Michael McDonald. Oh my gosh, the Patrick Saint of Yacht Rock. I'm not even mad at that. That was brilliant.
You didn't think of it? Okay.
That needs to be their like ad campaign now. It's like Yamo be there. Come on.
Where should I go for brunch?
Oh, okay. Brunch. So there is a restaurant that's going to be opening hopefully soon, but it's called Poppy's, and it's run by my friend Laurel, and it is absolutely incredible. Poppy's is doing pop-ups right now all around the city. They do it at Trick Dog quite often. They don't have the brick and mortar yet, but if you can catch one of their pop-ups, it's an Australian breakfast style. Jessica, who's making all the food, I mean, their brunch is incredible, next level, absolutely the spot I would go to.
And finally, closing out the night, where am I going for a shot and a beer?
Lone Palm. Lone Palm is going to be where I would head to. It's a little nostalgic for me because I poached Colleen from Lone Palm. I was about four martinis deep, and I was feeling myself. It was right when I moved to San Francisco. I was hiring for Trick Dog. I saw Colleen train a new bartender in like 2 minutes, like introduce him to the entire room, train him on everything. I was like, this girl is so badass. I need to have her on my team. And so I apologize to Lone Palm for taking Colleen, but I still frequent your establishment quite a bit. I think it's an incredible spot. It's a good place where you can go. You can go and you can have a shot and a beer, but they'll make you a proper Manhattan too.
Okay.
Nice.
And it's just the right level of nice and dirty for a late night drink.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent. Yeah.
Perfect.
Very cool. All right. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today on Manning Overboard. It was such a delight to talk to you and just hang out and just laugh.
Laugh.
I hear like bad yacht club jokes.
I tried.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me, guys.
We did.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's such an honor. I really appreciate you guys inviting me. Every time that you guys show up to an event or party, it takes it to another level. And so I just really look forward to seeing you guys in different cities when we're doing events. And so I'm really glad that you wanted to invite me on to chat. And I hope I get to see you guys soon. Are you going to be at BCB?
Oh, yeah.
We are going to be at BCB.
I'm gonna have the mango fish sauce drink.
Ooh.
We're doing a pop-up at Bar Madonna on the 11th, June 11th. It's a Wednesday.
Oh, good. Cool.
Oh, good.
And so I will have the drink there. Yeah.
Fantastic. We will
give
drink
it a try.
Then. But in the meantime, Nick, if people want to find you on the socials, where should they look?
They should look at Nick Amano-Dolan. I just switched to my full name. I went from Bartender Akira to just my plain old Nick Amano-Dolan. So yeah, that's the best place to reach me for sure.
Fantastic. And remember, gang, if we could be reached at Manning Overboard on Instagram or at manningoverboard@gmail.com for questions and comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time, and we look forward to our next happy hour. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, Nick.
Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV.
A service of the nonprofit Center for Culinary Culture, home of the cocktail collection.
The Center for Culinary Culture.
Telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time.